Thank you, Kara. This presentation is obviously directed at those of you who haven't heard of tokens, or if you have, may not completely understand what all the fuss is about. Before we begin discussing the benefits and advantages of tokens, let's take a look at the history of software licensing. Early on, software was sold as a single user product, allowing only one user to use the software at a time. These license types were and are still called authorized user licenses. As large companies, which were global in size, asked vendors to provide a license that multiple users of the product working in different time zones could use without purchasing additional authorized user licenses, thus the emergence of floating licenses as the license floats across the multiple users, though only one user could use the software at a time. And now we enter the age of the token license. Not only does tokens float across users, but also across products. There are three categories of licenses: perpetual, term, and token. Authorized users and floating licenses are purchased and owned forever, ergo the name perpetual. As long as you continue to pay subscription and service, you get the latest updates to the software. Term licenses are owned for a specific period of time and sometimes called the lease or software as a service. They have the subscription and service already built into the price, which can be paid monthly, yearly, or whatever period is decided upon. Tokens are like term licenses in that the subscription and service is built into the price. However, unlike perpetual and term licenses, tokens float across products. Let me explain how that works. First, an organization purchases tokens based on a projected product usage. Now, IBM has done a lot of studies on how many tokens should a customer purchase and has come up with a ratio of 6 tokens per engineer. What this means is that you need to count for every systems, software, and test engineer to get the correct number of users, and then simply multiply by 6. Now that a customer has access to the pool of tokens, a user selects the product or products they want to work with. Based on the consumption rate of the product or products, that number of tokens are removed from the pool. An example could be Doors, which consumes 9 tokens, and Rhapsody, which consumes 22 tokens, and Quality Manager, which consumes 10 tokens. This adds up to 41 tokens removed from the token pool. Now, when the user closes the product or products down, the tokens are returned to the token pool and become available for future consumption. Someone has imagined this as going to a fair and buying a number of tickets to be used for different rides. Each ride uses a different number of tickets, but unlike a fair, the ride operator gives you back the tickets collected at the beginning of the ride. So at the end of the day, you have the same number of tickets you started the day with. In this way, tokens not only float across users, but also across products. This gives us our first benefit. There is no need to determine how many licenses you are going to need of a specific product. With perpetual and term licenses, you need to predict the number of licenses needed during the period of their greatest demand. In other words, you need to determine the number of licenses of Doors needed when your project or program is in full requirements.